Governor DeSantis has a strong kickoff for Pride Month by stopping in Jacksonville to sign a ban on transgender athletes participating in girls' sports. This is a hot button issue. It's happening all over the country, and man, is the salt gonna flow from this one. Let's get into it. I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer. I'm also a legal and political commentator on YouTube and on Odyssey. Wherever you're watching, go ahead, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and make sure you turn on your notifications. You don't want to miss these. Okay, here we go. DeSantis signs controversial transgender athlete ban during visit to Jacksonville. Governor says he's ready to deal with backlash from critics of the bill. Look, this is an issue that is going on in many states around the country right now. And the question is it fair for a biological male who is transitioned to a female in some measure, and that measure is different for different places and different people, but is transitioned or is transitioning or merely identifies as, whatever it may be, they're identifying as a female. Is it fair for them to play in women's sports? I know my answer. We'll get to that at the end of this video. Make sure you watch to the end and see what we come up with. Okay, here we go. As he inked his name to a controversial bill banning transgender female athletes from competing on high school girls and college women's sports teams, Governor Ron DeSantis said he would stand up to corporations and athletic organizations like the NCAA that have threatened backlash over the ban. And we have seen these types of companies threaten various states, threaten to remove various events from their states, etc. over it. Look, if you're going to cut out Florida, you're cutting out a lot of people. That's a pretty big thing, but we'll see how it goes. Quote, "They are not going to dictate the policies in this state," DeSantis said, flanked by Republican lawmakers and student athletes at Trinity Christian Academy in Jacksonville. "We will stand up to groups like the NCAA who think they should be able to dictate policies in different states. Not here, not ever." Adding to this, by the way, Ron DeSantis is quickly becoming, he is setting himself up for a 2024 run. And I know a lot of people are questioning whether Trump will run or whatever, but I personally think there's a lot of thought to the idea that Trump will come out, endorse Ron DeSantis, and he will be the runaway favorite for Republicans going into 2024. I think that is the most likely sort of outcome that we're going to see here. But that is a separate issue. Let's keep going. Within an hour of DeSantis signing the bill, the Human Rights Campaign announced it intends to file a lawsuit challenging the new law. Governor DeSantis and Florida lawmakers are legislating based on false discriminatory premise that puts the safety and well-being of transgender children on the line, Human Rights Campaign President Alfonso David said in a statement. The measure, dubbed the Fairness in Women's Sports Act, makes female athletes' eligibility for sports teams contingent on their biological sex on birth certificates issued at or near the time of the student's birth. This is because many states will issue a new birth certificate after someone makes the transition or after a particular diagnosis. It mirrors legislation considered or passed this year by a number of other states with Republican-led legislatures. "We believe that the integrity of those competitions are preserved, that these opportunities are protected." And I can tell you this, in Florida, girls are going to play girls' sports and boys are going to play boys' sports. That is what we are doing, and we're going to make sure that is a reality. And of course, the ultimate question here is, do you believe that there are physical differences between boys and girls that means that it would be unfair for one gender to compete in the sports of another gender? That's it. That's it. You can get into gender identity and expression and acceptance. You can get into that all day. But the real question is, if a 6'5" male basketball player who's 17 years old decides to transition to become, I know, very hateful, determines that they have always been the opposite gender and transitions to a female identifies as a female, as a 6'5" biological male, and starts dunking all over the women's basketball court, is that a fair thing? And that is a reasonable expectation. We see story after story coming out from female athletes who are involved in things like track and field, basketball, football, baseball. We see some real questions about it in MMA all the way up to the UFC, where Dana White may not be interested in having that type of athlete in his organization. And there are real questions about the physical differences between the two genders. And those physical differences are a reality no matter how much acceptance you have on identity and expression. You're talking about two different things here. And part of it is fairness. Like you said, the female athletes in the track and field areas, who are some of the top athletes, are being absolutely destroyed and run over by these transgender women who are coming in some states, in some instances. Now, it's an extremely rare thing. Let's be fair. This is a rare thing. Not every girls' team, not every girl athlete has to deal with a transgender athlete, coming into the sport, coming onto their team, overshadowing their achievements. That's not happening in every single place in all times. No, but the more it's allowed, the more it's normalized, the more it becomes normal. So the question is, should transgender students be allowed to play on the teams of their gender identity rather than their biological sex? Is that something that should happen? There's two sides to this debate that I've seen. Three sides. One is that, yes, it should absolutely happen because expression is reality. And that's a point a lot of people have. The other one is the split sort of on the, we'll say on the right, I guess. I don't think it's just the right, but the split on the right is how it's typically portrayed. Is that no, they should not because it's unfair, or yes, they should because it's unfair. So there's some people out there who are accelerationist on the issue. They want to go ahead and see the unfairness manifest. They think it's funny. They think it's instructive. They think it's illustrative, or they just think it's consistent with what they're perceiving as the downfall of this our sort of societal ideas about who we are. But there's a real fear amongst female athletes that the top positions in both male and female sports will all be held by biological men. And so, accelerationist view versus non-accelerationist view. I'm on the non-accelerationist view. Look, I get it. I get the meme. I think it would be funny too. But at the same time, I actually feel quite a bit for these young athletes who've been working and training to get to where they are, and then to have someone come in with a biological difference that was supposed to be segregated out for the advantage, right? This is why we separate boys and girls sports. It has been forever, because they recognize there's biological differences between men and women that make them differently adaptable to different physical activities. And the activities of some sports that women are playing in, men are just going to be superior at them on the average, and they're trying to eliminate that. They're trying to eliminate the top girls team having boys on it, having just being a team of boys that are all transgender. That's what they're trying to eliminate. And I frankly think that is the way to go, because as much as accelerationism is funny, I do think that that preserving sort of the the integrity and the recognizing the achievements and accomplishments of people being compared to themselves and their own genders is probably the more reasonable thing to do. And I'm not alone in that. But tell me what you think. Drop it down in the comments below. We'll talk to you soon. Peace. Peace.